Well, you really stop and think about a jig. It's really simply nothing more than a piece of lead on a hook. It's almost like a spinnerbait if you really look at it, with the exception a spinnerbait has a wire out of the head with blades on it. And I think all bass anglers across the country know that a spinnerbait is probably the most versatile bait ever made for bass. And a jig basically is a takeoff of a spinnerbait without the wire, and the heads come in a variety of shapes. They're all good for certain reasons. Everything's designed for a reason. And as a rule of thumb, when I'm fishing heavy cover, aquatic vegetation, or a lot of timber, I look for an eye that comes out almost rolled forward a little bit so that when I tie my line, I have a smooth transition from the line to the eye and around the base of the jig. That's what I look for. And that transition is very important due to the fact that your jig is going to follow the line. And if I have that smooth transition, then once I reach that cover, the jig will slip up and over that piece of cover. Now that fish definitely ate it on the sink. But she was down about 10 feet. Come here, little girl. A lot of anglers have a problem. They say, I don't know how to fish a jig. You don't have to fish the jig. Just make the cast, the rate of fall, the cover that you're fishing the bait in will actually add action to the jig, especially in heavy cover. What I'm trying to do is get a vertical drop. And if I pitch a bait to something that's standing vertical, if I leave the reel engaged, then I'll get a pendulum effect and the jig will actually swim away from the tree, come back to the boat. So what I actually do is pitch the target, strip the line as I get a vertical drop all the way down. And then I'll engage, bounce it a little bit in case the fish is looking at it, hop it and reel it back in and make another pitch. All right, she came out of the tree. Another good one. God, is that not a healthy fish? But you notice it was on an isolated piece, and that's what I said when I came into this place, is that there's a lot, but I was trying to find a little place within this whole area. She was sitting right up in top. Fishing a jig has allowed me to catch better quality fish, understand fishing, enjoy it a little bit more, but really most important is pay attention, become more of what you hear anglers talk about, being in a zone. And I always say I like to fish the moment. And that's what I mean. I like to block everything out and just focus on the cast and really, fish the bait. Oh, there's a nice one. Is that not awesome or what? And again, this fish right here, the last two that we've caught, you can look up the bank and you can see the point with the heavy cover. And again, I'm searching. It's the first morning on the lake, and I looked down the shoreline and I saw this next point with heavy cover. And somewhere in here I felt I was going to catch a fish. So now I'm starting to think of a pattern. In my mind now, I look up there, I see a point. I look over there, I see a point. I look over there and I see a point. And why spend your time fishing down the shoreline when you can idle over and fish the points? One of the neat things about jig fishing that's taught me over the years is that jigs are target-orientated baits. They're designed weedless. We fish them in real thick, heavy cover. But most important with the jig is it allows an angler to pinpoint the location of the fish from the strike. So when I look down a shoreline, especially when I'm using the flipping technique, I just don't see the log. I see the branches on the log. Or when I look in the bush, I see the heart of the bush, where I feel the fish is taking up position to ambush prey. And this type of bait helps me refine my patterns. And so many times over my past experience, I've experienced that it's the pattern within a pattern that wins the event. And if anglers just fish the lay down log, I don't care, because I know the fish are on the biggest branch or in the crotch or in the backside of the tree. So you start kind of redefining your pattern as the day goes on, and that's what really helps the great guys that fish jigs so often. That was awesome. That was awesome.